chaos at the National Assembly has come to an end after 20 days. The government is set to spend some $40 billion on its Green New Deal. And an exclusive interview with the head of the International Monetary Fund, Dominique Strauss-Kahn. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Wednesday, the 7th of January. I'm Kim. The ruling and opposition parties have finally come to an agreement on disputed bills. The National Assembly has gone back to normal after 20 days of chaos.
Floor leaders of both the ruling and opposition parties have finally buried the hatchet.
국민 여러분께 심려를 끼쳐 드려서 정말 죄송합니다. 앞으로도 국회가 여야 합의로 충실한 논의와 타협과 대화를 통해서 합의 운영될 수 있는 모범을 보였으면 하는 기대를 하고 있습니다.
Lawmakers first divided bills that can be handled and those still needing discussion. Bills up for vote include those on radio frequency, media arbitration, the removal of investment ceilings, and the ratification of the bilateral free trade agreement with the U.S. As such, these bills are likely to be processed at an agreed time. But both sides still disagree on 6 other media bills, 10 on social reform, and 1 on allowing corporations to own banks. The National Assembly has finally returned to normal after about 20 days of violent conflict. This is thanks to a compromise from the floor leaders of both sides and the parliamentary speaker's mediation.
The government is to spend $39 billion to carry out the so-called Green New Deal plans and create 960,000 jobs over the next 4 years. But critics say that the government has yet to devise ways to secure the necessary funds.
The government will spend about $14 billion on improving the nation's 4 major rivers and invigorating the economy of the local areas. It plans to create 200,000 jobs through the river project. Some $1.9 billion will go to a forestation project in a bid to create more jobs for 170,000 people. The new forest will be nearly 11,900 square kilometers. The government announced 36 eco-friendly economic growth plans Tuesday. In addition to the river and forestation projects, the government will also invest in developing new eco-friendly alternative energy sources and encouraging the use of low-carbon transportation systems such as bicycles and bullet trains. It plans to inject nearly $39 billion for the green growth projects, which are expected to create 960,000 jobs for the next 4 years. But most of the newly created jobs are temporary. The government said that 920,000 are manual construction and production jobs. They're mostly blue-collar or labor jobs. Another task is to secure the funds needed for the plans. The government can procure about $3.3 billion out of the total budget of nearly $39 billion. And most of the budgets will be spent after recovering from the stagnant economy, which may lead to an overheated construction industry. Some experts criticize the green growth plans for failing to help the nation foster mid- and long-term growth and improve its economic fundamentals.
A group of farmers is set to send rice to North Korea as a New Year's gift. They're hoping the gift will help improve the strained inter-Korean relations.
Trucks loaded with sacks of rice gather one by one. South Korean farmers have named the rice Unification Rice. This rice will go to North Korea. In just 3 days, 52 cities and counties nationwide have sent 4,400 sacks of rice to North Cholla Province. Each sack has 40 kilograms of rice.
국력 동포하고 같이 나눌 수 있는 부분들이 농민들에게는 그 쌀밖에 없지 않습니까? 그래서 우리 마음을 보내고
The South Korean government and civic groups have sent rice to the north since 2000. But the government has allocated no budget for aiding the north this year. so farmers have gathered rice from their farms in the hope of improving inter-Korean relations.
북에다 동포들한테 법으로 정해서 함으로써 쌀 가격이 안정이 되고 그럼 생산자들도 보람을 느끼고 또 우리 북 동포들도 좋지 않습니까? 그걸 법으로 만들라는 것이죠.
The more than 40 tons of rice gathered at North Cholla Province will be shipped to the north from the port of Incheon Thursday.
A KBS journalist interviewed the managing director of the IMF, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who is expected to play a vital role in resolving the current economic crisis. He underscored the importance of international cooperation in weathering the economic storm.
International Monetary Fund Managing Director Dominique Strauss-Kahn predicted threats to the global economy will be lessened a bit in 2010. Prior to taking up his position at the IMF in 2007, he served as a Minister of Economy, Finance and Industry in France.
The recovery can come at the beginning of 2010, which is far, it's 1 year ahead, but on the other hand, maybe not so far if really each and every policy which can be implemented are really undertaken.
The head of the IMF expected the Korean economy to recover around a similar time. He stressed that Korea has strong economic fundamentals and there will be no financial crisis the nation had confronted a decade ago.
The Korean people shouldn't see the 2009 as a nice year. It won't be a nice year for anybody, but shouldn't fear that this year could be any kind of a situation which would look like 10 years ago.
The IMF demanded Korea to tighten its belt to overcome the 1997 financial crisis. Even so, Kahn said that Korea needs to boldly expand its budget spending to fight the current recession. He said that international cooperation is crucial to overcome the current global economic crisis. Kahn said that the world will pay a close attention to the role of Korea on the international stage, as Korea will serve as the chair of the G20 forum in 2010.
The Korean liquor soju is growing more and more popular overseas. Soju is available at restaurants with a beer and wine license in cities with high ethnic Korean populations. This has prompted complaints from vodka makers.
Vodka manufacturers are again asking the California Liquor Control Board to classify soju as high-proof alcohol. They made the same request 4 years ago.
미국 카페를 빠야시도 우리 소주 갖고 많이 해요. 그런데 바드카가 안 나니까 이 친구들이 자꾸 이제 또 로비를 하는 거예요, 지금.
Vodka sales continue to drop as soju is served more in restaurants and is growing popular as an ingredient for mixed cocktails. Vodka makers say soju is made under a similar method as vodka, so it must fall under the category of a high-alcohol liquor. Such companies are suffering from decreasing sales. Soju can be sold in restaurants with a beer and wine license. That would stop if soju is designated as a high-proof alcohol. About 80% of Korean-run restaurants in Los Angeles sell soju with a beer and wine license. If soju is put into the high-alcohol category, the damage to the restaurants would be huge. Such restaurants and soju manufacturers plan to continue lobbying to keep the drink's existing classification to the Liquor Control Board and California legislators.
Korea's first insurance certificate has been discovered. It was written some 110 years ago and covered a cow, not a person. Let's take a look.
This is an insurance certificate issued by the Great Korea Insurance Company in the late 1890s. It clearly reads the first insurance contract issued in June 1897 in South Hamgyong Province. It was issued 2 months earlier than an insurance certificate, which has been known to be the nation's first insurance document. What's noteworthy is that the insurance coverage was exclusively for a cow, not a person. The insurance premium was $23, and in any cases of damage, insurance purchasers received benefits ranging from $933 to $2332, depending on the size of their cows.
농경시대에는 그 선원 재산 목록 제1호였습니다. 그 소가 병들어 죽거나 했을 때는 가족의 생계 문제가 컸기 때문에 그래서 소보험이 사람보다 먼저 시작됐습니다.
An edition of the 독립신문 confirms the existence of the insurance coverage for cows.
보험회사는 마땅히 보험을 들겠다는 사람만 해줄 일이지 억지로 보험에 들게 백성의 돈을 달라는 것은 불가하다.
The cow insurance drew public resentment at the time as the system was mandatory. As so, it was abolished after about 100 days after its first enforcement.
The economic slowdown and inflation have pushed up the price of eating out in Korea, but some establishments have started selling meals at less than $1. We went to take a look.
This is the early morning rush hour. People stream into this restaurant. They come here for the 1,001 meal. For about 76 cents, they get hot soup and rice and side dishes.
가격이 1,000원이라고 해서 품질이 1,000원은 아닌 것 같아요. 그 이상 되는데 싸게 주시니까 저희는 뭐 고맙게 먹는 거죠.
This restaurant started selling a bargain breakfast late last year. That's about the time when economic difficulty forced people to cancel parties and family get-togethers.
얼마나 어려우면 모임 한 달에 1, 2만 원 내가지고 모임 하는 것도 못할까 싶어갖고 제가 그냥 1,000원짜리 밥을 시작하게 된 거예요.
This eatery selling dumplings and steamed bread is a hotspot in Cheongju, North Chungcheong Province. The price of one serving has remained 1,000 won over the past 7 years. Keeping that price has remained a challenge because of the rising cost of ingredients.
재료를 어떻게 하면 저렴하게 할 수 있는 방법을 여러 방면에서 생각하고
The return of 1,001 marketing indicates the arrival of another economic crisis in Korea.
Chusa Kim Jong-hee is known as the best calligrapher of late Joseon dynasty. Works influenced by Chusa are on display here in Seoul. Let's take a look.
Strong and rough brush strokes depict plum blossoms on an 8-sectioned folding screen. The screen is filled with the scholar's strong will and confidence. The famous Joseon calligrapher Kim Jong-hee, also known as Chusa, had a special affection for his student Hyeon, or Sochi. Chusa stressed Sochi was incomparable with anyone in the east side of Amnok River. Sochi's 일속산방도 is shown in public for the first time. It depicts an ordinary lifestyle which is rarely seen in other paintings of his time. He portrayed the scenery in soft brushstrokes. His works have been largely influenced by Chusa's style of using simple dots and strokes.
고도의 관념이 중심의 그 남종화를 19세기에 들어서 확산시키고 토착화시킨 장본인이 이제 소치 화련이다.
This is a painting of an orchid by Hungsun Daewongun, a royal family member of the Joseon dynasty. This painting reminds us of Chusa's Purisolando, which is known as one of the best orchid paintings. Chusa has also given much influence to Chung Hak-kyo, who has painted rocks of strange shapes all his life, and Kim Eung-won, who drew orchids with soft and smooth brushstrokes.
단순히 화공이 그린 작품이 아니라 문자양 석원기에 그야말로 지성의 바탕에서 우러나온 그림, 걸 높게 평가를 했다.
Chusa's art has inspired his followers. His artworks guide us to the profound world of Oriental thoughts and philosophy.
On cold winter days, many Koreans crave hot soup or stew, and nearly all Korean homes have a special pot. Today we'd like to introduce to you a wide range of pot dishes, perfect for the winter season. Pots come in many different shapes and sizes these days. There are stainless steel pots, enamel pots, aluminum pots, and those made of heat-resistant glass. Recently, more and more people are buying pots to fit their lifestyle. And pots very often double up as serving dishes. They come in various designs and colors. Bold-colored cast iron pots are particularly popular in winter.
색깔도 이쁘고 모양도 특이한 그런 냄비 보려고 왔는데 여기는 색깔도 너무 다양하고 모양도 너무 이뻐서 굉장히 만족스러워요.
This restaurant serves all of its dishes in pots. The old-fashioned nickel-silver pot brings back pleasant old memories for many Koreans. Just the sight of the food served in a hot pot is enough to get you in a cozy mood.
감기가 걸려가지고 얼큰한 게 먹고 싶었는데 뜨끈뜨끈하고 얼큰한 거 먹으니까 감기가 뚝 떨어질 것 같은데요.
A stew called kimchi is one of the most popular pot dishes in Korea. The kimchi's crispiness and rich flavor is best preserved when cooked in those nickel-silver pots that heat up fast. There's also a restaurant that uses paper pots. No need to worry about the pots burning up though. The pots are made of non-toxic paper with a layer of coating, so they won't burn.
국물이 끓을 때 생기는 거품이 종이에 바로 흡수되기 때문에 이게 냄비 밖으로 셀 일이 없어요, 이게. 그리고 넘치거나 줄어들지 않기 때문에 참 좋습니다, 그게.
A shabu-shabu dish with noodles is best when cooked in these paper pots. As the pot keeps the broth boiling, diners can enjoy the freshness of seafood and vegetables and the chewiness of the noodles to the last bite. Here are some ways to enjoy pot meals at home. First, fusilli with cream sauce cooked in the Korean earthenware pot called dukbaegi. Half-cook sliced bacon in the pot, add some fresh cream and milk, and boil for a while. When the pot is heated, add mushrooms, broccoli, dried red pepper and fusilli. Finish by seasoning with salt and pepper. The pot keeps the pasta nice and warm until you eat the last bite. Chicken kimchi stew is a good recipe for stainless steel pots. Chop and dice chicken breast and mix the meat with egg whites and some starch. Roll the batter into small balls. Slice some kimchi with all the seasoning rinsed off into small pieces. Cook the broth with tomato sauce, mushrooms and bell peppers, and add the chicken meatballs and the sliced kimchi.
냄비들이 각자의 저마다 특성들이 다 있잖아요. 그 특성들을 잘 살려서 요리를 하시면 맛있는 요리를 즐기실 수 있어요.
So do try one of these hot steamy pot dishes and beat the freezing winter cold. Time now for a look at today's economic indicators, followed by world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Join me tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching.